Hello, and welcome to the Amsterdam Van Gogh Museum. I will be your tour guide today, and we will be discussing Vincent van Gogh, the artist that was known to paint the Starry Night and cut off his ear. But what else do you know? The responses will probably be minimal, so today I will be taking you through the museum to learn about Vincent's life before art, his younger brother Theo van Gogh, and finally, Vincent's life creating art. I hope you enjoy the trip to the museum today. Now, stepping into the first gallery, we encounter many pictures of a small Dutch village named Zundert within the Netherlands. This is where Anna van Gogh had her first child on March 30th of 1852. His name was going to be Vincent, named after her husband, Theodorus van Gogh's father. Unfortunately, this child was stillborn. And after this heartbreaking event, exactly a year later, on March 30th of 1853, the Vincent van Gogh that we all have heard about was born. And after that were 5 siblings: Anna, Theo, Elizabeth, Wilhelmine, and finally Cornelius. Their father was a priest at the church across from their home, and their mother stayed home to tend to them. This is a picture of Vincent's childhood home that he grew up in. While it was very traditional and religious, it was not strict in many ways. The parents had newspapers and magazines sent to their house so that they could learn about things that happened outside of their village. And the kids were encouraged to learn about new cultures and to strengthen their talents. Vincent grew up like any other kid. He loved to play outside and to go to a nearby creek and fish and find things that he found interesting. And when he got older, he started to get more interested into art and drawing in particular, but it was just a hobby at the time. And he did start to go to school. And while he didn't enjoy it, he was very good at it. And at the age of 16, he was sent to work at his uncle's art gallery. He did very well there, and he did so well that later he was sent to London to a new office and again to Paris. But according to the book Van Gogh, A Power Seething by Julien Bell, he was actually fired pretty quickly after he had arrived to Paris, and he couldn't hold a steady job after that. He, at one point, wanted to be a priest and went to school, but again, he failed. And I believe this is where his mental illness started to increase. Stepping into the second gallery, we meet Theo van Gogh, and I'm sure many of you are wondering, who is Theo and why is he important? But to quote the book, Vincent and Theo, the Van Gogh brothers, it states, "The world would not have Vincent without Theo," and this is very true. Vincent was 4 years older than Theo, but they were always very close throughout their entire lives. They would do many activities together and even shared a bedroom in the attic. And one day on a walk, they made a pact with each other that they would be there for each other whenever they needed them. They stayed very close to their lives, like I said, and they had sent over 600 corresponding letters to each other within their entire lifespan. And this is one of the things that many believe had kept Vincent alive for as long as he did. Vincent felt very alone in the world, and knowing that he had Theo made everything feel very, very much brighter. And this painting was made by Vincent, and it's called At Eternity's Gate. Now, there's a quote from their father of actually a Bible verse or a prayer, and it goes, "O Lord, join us intimately to one another, and let our love for thee make that bond ever stronger." And that explained the brothers very well. They not only had a strong connection, but Theo paid for basically everything that Vincent did. He paid for his art supplies, his food, his rent, his clothing, anything, you name it. Vincent could pay for anything. And Theo was actually the one that suggested that Vincent start becoming a professional artist in the first place. So without him, we would have been out of many, possibly some of the most famous artworks in the world. And without Theo, Vincent would have never had any of the connections he did within the art community. Since Theo worked at an art gallery, Vincent was able to meet people like Claude Monet, Emily Bernard, and Paul Gauguin. So without Theo, Vincent really probably wouldn't have survived for as long as he had. Now, finally, we step into the third art gallery. where we start learning about Vincent's art career. He had lived with Theo for a long time in Paris, but he had soon grown bored of it and moved south to a new town. And this is where he started living. This is a painting that he made of a house called the Yellow House, and this is where he actually stayed. While he was there, he made many paintings, but this is also the time that he was in his deepest mental illness. He made things like self-portraits, landscapes, and of course his yellow flowers. And in December 23rd of 1888, he cut off his ear. They're not really sure why, but they believe that since he had an argument with his roommate and he had received a letter from his brother saying that he was going to get engaged, he felt very alone. And after he cut it off, he went to a brothel and gave it to a woman there. And nobody really knows why, but there's a thing they do in Spain where after the matador kills the bull, they give it to a woman in the crowd. So they're not really too sure. He also painted the Starry Night after he had cut off his ear in June 1889. And this is while he was in an institution. He painted this from a window in his room. And actually scientists, or according to a TED Ed that I had watched, the swirls that are within that are very close to the equation in math for turbulence. And that's one of the things, that was one of the things that still scientists today are not able to identify mathematically. So they tend to study him a lot and wonder how he was able to do this. So today we have learned about Vincent's life before art, his brother Theo Van Gogh, and Vincent's life with art. Thank you.